What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. Today is July 25th, 2025, but when you're watching these videos pretty much from now on, I'm not talking about anything that really matters today. Um, whenever you watch it, you watch it. If I even get into the Tour de France commentary today, I'm still watching stage 13, and I believe today they're running stage 19. In fact, today is stage 19 because the last day is Sunday. Today's Friday. I'm like 6 stages behind now on watching it, and I didn't get to finish stage 13 last night because I did the live stream, which takes place every Thursday from 6 to 8 Central Time, 7 to 9 Eastern, and whatever it is where you are. We went for a long time last night, 3 hours and 45 minutes instead of the 2 hours. So you got more bang for your buck than you were expecting. I think the only reason it went so long last night is because in the beginning, YouTube, something flaked out and everybody got the little spinny thing and the video stalled. And so I had to figure out how to get it going again. It wasn't too hard to do. I don't really even remember the steps I took to fix it, but it was fixed. And then it was really hot yesterday, really hot. And I'm not saying it was bothering me, but this AC unit in this house has a hard time keeping up when the sun is beating down on the place. Most of it is probably because of the windows, the sun coming in. And so I still don't have curtains. I want to get curtains for one of the rooms when I get my next freelance check. That's pretty much my next order of business. I have it all picked out. I just need to make it happen. Curtains aren't cheap, man. It's ridiculous how much a piece of cloth to hang in front of a window costs, and they're not even big windows here. It's just the way it is, I guess. I'll get to take them with me and hang them up somewhere else someday, so whatever. But that should help. Blackout curtains should help with some of that heat issue. But my MacBook overheated in the middle of the live stream, just shut off. And I was a little nervous because, that's not good. And, every time something like that happens, I'm like, please restart, please restart, please restart. And it went I was able to turn it right back on. I jumped right back into the live stream again after I disappeared for probably 5 minutes. But I took a fan, the fan that I have, the AC is right next to me, but it blows pretty much straight down next to me. So I had to take the fan and kind of point that at the computer and just but then the sun went down or went behind the trees and it instantly drops. The temperature drops like 20 degrees or more as soon as the sun goes down or the sun is away from the building and not beating on it anymore. The temperature just plummets in here. So that's like, I don't know if this place is twice as big as the place I was living. But that place that I was living, that AC unit that I had in that place was so powerful that it would probably be able to keep this place ice cold. If I were to find a cheap window unit, I could probably put it in the room next door, and between the two, it would probably do the job. I don't know. Just keep, adding it to my list of things that I'm trying to do. I can't do everything that I need to do. So I need to give you the cue to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, all that, because you got to do it if you're on YouTube. I really don't like doing all that, but that's what we got to do. And I understand why, because there's people whose videos I like and I forget to do it. And then they say it in the video and I'm like, oh yeah, hit that button. And because and so it's not even like, I don't, if you forget, you forget. It's the way it is. I get it. I forget all the time. So let's see, hit that thumbs up. There's some links down here in the description to social media and all that kind of stuff if you want to support the channel. All that's good. If you want to contact me, adam@litgood.com. No commercials for the live stream. That's 3 hours and 45 minutes. We had a great time. It was a lot of good conversations, a lot of good questions, a lot of random topics. Oh, jeez, man. the fucking fruit fly, get the fuck out of my face. Hate these things. You can't get them like a regular fly. I got a fly swatter. I'm just like, bow, gotcha, bitch. But these fruit flies, oh, I can't stand those things. It's just like one. It's always just one flying around. And he's like, how about I land right on your eyeball? How about I land on your computer screen? How about you go land right over there on that electric tennis racket hanging in the window so I can hear bah! And it's over for you. Or go land on that plastic piece of fruit that's got that special juice inside of it that you like so much. Go land in there. Leave me the fuck alone. Bugs, man. Texas. Living down south, at least up north, I hate winter. But one nice thing about winter is it kills the bugs. Just wipes them out. Like the bug apocalypse. But then when the spring hits, oh man, when I lived in the woods in Pennsylvania, April, first couple of warm weeks of April, that first week where you let your lawn grow out because you don't want to go out and mow it yet, but now you have to. Oh my goodness, the bugs go crazy in that first part of the spring. And then they back off. But you got different bugs at different times of the year. So the other thing I got to do besides curtains next time I get paid is another round of bug prevention. I got to get some caulk gun, caulking tools to spread the caulk, and do a professional job. All these things I would have as a man being 49 years old and but when you're starting from zero, so it's not going to be that expensive, but there's a bunch of things I got to seal up. There's weather stripping around this door that I got to replace. And this is like the landlord's responsibility, but if I let them do it, it's not going to get done right. So, whatever. And the landlord's fine here. I don't have any beef with anybody here. It's so far so good. I'm 2 months in, almost done with my second month. I'm okay. Not really a few things to complain about, but hopefully, if it gets worse and I get sick of living here, next June I can leave with no penalty. And if I feel like staying, it goes to a month-to-month lease. And that's both good and bad. The benefits of having a month-to-month lease where you sign a year lease, but if they don't rekindle the lease after a year, then it goes month to month by default. But my lease actually says after a year it goes month to month. And the dude I'm renting from even said he said he doesn't want to make me sign a lease every year. After a year, it's month to month. So that's good and bad. It's good because now, once I get into a month to month situation, if I want to move, I have a lot of flexibility. I can spend as much time as I want to spend to find the right place to live, and I don't really have a deadline for that. If I go a month and I don't find what I want, go another month till I find what I want, and then I just have to give a 30-day notice for this place to move out. if it turns out that I pay if I pay the move-in fee at a new place and keep this place for another month to make that's a smooth transition. That's an easy move to do when you give yourself time like that. It gives you a lot of flexibility, and just I could do it all by myself except for carrying a couple heavy things. I could be like, hey, to my friend, I could just ask my friend to come over and just help me lift a couple heavy things instead of actually moving all the stuff. And there's not a lot of stuff here, but there will be more when I move out of here than when I moved in here. But the last time I moved in Pennsylvania, I had 2 friends come over. I paid them. I had a list of, I think it was like between 7 to, it was no more than 15 things, and it was probably closer to 7. I don't know. I made a list of everything I was taking to the new place that I could not fit in the back of a Jeep Liberty. And so those were the thing I had to get a moving truck for. And I brought a couple friends over. I had a huge staircase. That was the problem. And so things I couldn't lift by myself or carry by myself. My friends came over to help. And I'm like, these are the 7 things. And we got them all in the truck. They're like, that's it? Really? Wow. They were expecting like moving. They were like dreading it. Because nobody wants to help somebody move, but you'll do it, especially if it's a friend and if they're paying you for your trouble and time. But we did the 7 things, whatever it was. The truck wasn't even that full. And then I'm just like, I don't know, let's spend another hour just carrying some boxes down the stairs until we decide that time-wise, we need to drive up to the new place, which was an hour and some change away, and then turn around and come back to Pittsburgh. So at some point we're like, okay, we've done enough. Let's just go up there. It took a while to load up the truck because of the staircase. But when we drove up to Mercer and we were able to park right next to the house, and everything was flat more or less, except for going around the back of the house and down to the basement door to take a couple of things in that were going in down there. The truck was unloaded in 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. Loading the truck took a long time, but getting it all empty took no time at all. And, but my friends were like, wow, that's all we had to do. But I had 3 months to move. So the landlords were really generous, and I gave them a down payment, said I can't move in until April 1st, but it was like January 2nd or something. It was like that, and they said, don't worry about it, we're fine. We worked it out. They were happy to have one person renting the whole property versus like what they were originally thinking they were going to do. And so it was a win situation for everybody. So I had 3 months, and I would just make trips back and forth with my personal vehicle and just leave the big things at the old house until my friends could come and help. And they were like, they gave me the keys. They're like, you can start moving your stuff in anytime you want. Just let us know when you decide to move in. And we'll start paying rent from there. And so I took advantage of that. 3 months. It made it so easy. I would just go up there. I'd fill the Jeep Liberty up to the brim, drive up there, unload it, hang out, unpack, as much as I could. If it was like kitchen stuff, get it all, very easy move. Very easy move. In fact, I was done. I had signed. Now, my lease at the old place was at the end of May. So I moved in on April 1st. But I still had stuff at the old house. So I spent the month of April going back and forth doing the same thing, except for I was sleeping and living at the new place and had stuff at the old place. And I was just carting it back. I had a job in Pittsburgh, so I would be there multiple times a week, just swing by the old place, fill up the truck, go. And the last day of April, I was done. So I was like, I was like, even though I had to pay for the month of May, I was done. Like, I could not think of one reason I would ever want to set foot in that house again. I'm looking around. I'm like, I steam cleaned the floors. I did everything. I cleaned it up. Anything I wasn't keeping was gone. People on Craigslist came and picked things up. I sold things, gave things away, took things to the trash. Like, I had a long time to do this. So I just was like, on the May 1st, I just was like, screw it. Put the keys on the counter and told the landlord I'm out. And, but he was a stickler by the book, so he made me pay. He still made me pay for that month of May. But I didn't have a reason to keep it. I didn't want to, even if I had, there was absolutely no reason for me to keep the keys for another month and then have to do that. So, very cool situation. So if I end up in a month-to-month situation at this place here, it'll be very convenient. If and when, then I can really shop around. I can really be picky about where I want to go next. I don't have to have this deadline that I had a deadline this last time of June 1st. I gotta be out, because that's when the slumlord was gonna really start pounding me, because he was strong-arming me in the middle of a lease to try and pay more rent. And I wasn't gonna give him more money. I was gonna let him take me to court if it came to that and try to evict me. And I was just gonna go all in. But I figured if I can get out of there by the end of May, I'll be okay. And so I did it, but I had to take this place, and I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem living here. I'm cool with this. This place is all right. It's not the best, but I was looking around yesterday, and I'm like, it's really. I've lived in way better places than this, but it's pretty convenient. It's easy to keep clean. It's got a couple problems, but other than that, it's not a big deal. Trying to get life put back together. I have a Surface tablet that I really can't use because the keyboard flaked out. And the replacement keyboards are wicked expensive for that thing. But I keep seeing them on Facebook Marketplace. This one girl has one listed. She's had it listed since September. We keep emailing back and forth. She won't meet me I'm like, $30. Yes, I'll do it. Brand new. I can't meet up with her though. I'll probably send her a message today saying I'm gonna be in your area tomorrow. Some guy on Facebook Marketplace listed 2 of them with a stylus for $30 yesterday. And by noon, I had agreed to meet him on Saturday and go get it after work. Problem solved. Not only would my problem be solved, but I would be, well prepared if a keyboard went bad. I'd have another one. So the guy sends me a text at 3 in the afternoon, and he goes, sorry man, somebody said they'd come over today at 4 o'clock and get them. So unless you can come earlier than that, I'm gonna sell them to this other guy. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I mean, whatever, fair is fair. But Facebook Marketplace is flaky as hell. I used to wheel and deal on Craigslist all the time. Facebook Marketplace is ridiculously flaky. Way worse than Craigslist. I don't know if it's because Houston versus Pittsburgh, but people on Facebook are a lot flakier with their marketplace sales than the people on Craigslist. So it's difficult to line up these things to make them happen. But whatever, I'll figure it out. The other people that have Surface keyboards for sale, they've been listed forever. Nobody will buy them because it's the previous generation Surface tablet. The new ones have a different connector. But now one shows up and poof, it's gone in less than a day. And I'm like, come on, man. I could have had this fixed. I don't want to pay $150 for a new one when I can get one for $30 for a computer that's kind of old. And it's a Windows computer, so when I do get it up and running, it's going to be slow, but I have some specific uses for it for now. And so it's fine. I don't need a new one. I can use it for a few more years, probably a few more years before I would have to look into getting another one. So I'm probably just going to message the girl while I'm sitting here talking to you guys. Let's see here. Got new cycling shoes coming in the mail for free, so that's good. That's good. I was talking about, I found a pair of cycling shoes on Facebook Marketplace for $15. I flaked out, so I'm flaky too. I had a seller reach out to me. Well, I reached out to someone. They got a pair of good cycling shoes for $15, but it would be a 20-mile bike ride each way to go get them. Come with cleats and everything. And then I was like, why don't I reach out to the company that made my cycling shoes, Giro, and see what they'll do about the wear and tear, the premature wear and tear on these shoes. And they got back to me in 5 minutes after I emailed them, and 15 minutes later they had a new pair of shoes on the way for me. So they're supposed to be here tomorrow, according to FedEx. I'm like, wow, that was fast. So now I'm very much not interested in going to get these shoes. If they were close, or if they were in a spot where it would be convenient for me to go get them, then I would be a little bit more likely to want to do it. But, oh, come on. Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah, I mean, so I should be getting a brand new pair of cycling shoes tomorrow, and I'm still going to wear the old ones. I think I'm going to do a quick reevaluation of how I want to mount my cleats, because I'm getting these corns and problems with my feet, and I'm wondering if I can adjust my cleat position on the shoe to, if I can adjust my position of the cleat on the shoe, maybe I can get a better fit, or maybe take some of the pressure off the pain points on my feet. And these shoes I'm wearing right now, usually a pair of mountain bike shoes, after you've been wearing them this long, you'll never be able to get an Allen wrench in the bolt to get the cleats off of the shoe anymore. You would have to drill them out with a drill. But I haven't been mountain biking, so I can still use an Allen key to I can move the cleats around a little bit. So I'm just going to reevaluate my cleat position at some point, probably not today, but soon, and get that taken care of. All right, so yeah, I just sent another message to that person with the Surface tablet keyboard. This girl, whoever it is, lives like a mile away from where I work. So I'm like, yeah, I want this. I'm not in a big hurry to get it. I'm not, I haven't had it for a while, so I'm okay. Let's see here. So that was cool. A lot of people passing away this week. Hulk Hogan died yesterday. And so there goes that. I had all my money on Keith Richards after Ozzy bid it. Bid it. No pun intended. So all I'm asking, now that Hulk Hogan is gone, the only question I have is, where's Hillary Clinton been all week? Does she have an alibi? That's a little, I guess, 70-something old people die, when they're 70-something years old all the time. Said Hulk Hogan died of a heart attack, which kind of makes me wonder, was the Hulkster fully vaccinated? He lives in Florida and he's surrounded by Republicans and he was a huge Trump supporter, brother. But I don't know, was he fully boosted and vaccinated? I don't know. I'm always going to ask that now when someone drops from a heart attack or a blood clot or a stroke or anything like that. See, yesterday's video I was talking about, I don't got anything else to say about Hulk Hogan. Other than my health. I'm not trying to eat better. I'm not trying. The only thing I'm doing is tracking what I'm eating just to see how bad the damage I am. And yeah, I'm overeating. I don't feel full when I eat dinner until I've blown through the number of calories I'm supposed to eat in a day. And if I ride my bicycle to and from the bakery and work all day, that's at least 2,000 extra calories plus whatever I burn at the bakery, which I don't even know. And at the end of it all, it's hard to say. I'm kind of but I'm not losing weight right now. I'm on a plateau because it is what it is. And it's my fault. I'm not blaming anybody, but I'm trying to figure out what can I do to not starve myself, because I know what that feels like. It sucks. Last time I starved myself into weight loss was because federal prison was starving us. So I was Danbury, Connecticut for 4 months. It's hard to get calories. If you don't got money for commissary, you ain't getting shit. You're not going to get 2,000 calories in a day unless you can afford commissary. And then they were trying to starve us as punishment because someone threw a fit in the chow hall. So when it's like the military, when one person does something, they punish everybody for it. So for about a month, they were starving everybody. I couldn't get 2,000 calories in a day. Plus, I was going to spinning class, I was working out, and so I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. Shoom, gone. And I've gained I've gained between 15 and 25 pounds of that back since. And it just goes up and down, but it stays in that range. 215 to 225, back down to 215, back to 225. Everything, it just stays, it goes up and down and up and down. I can't break out of that range and go back down. And yes, I can. I know how. Starve yourself to death and exercise a bunch and you'll lose weight. So I'm trying to okay, out of all the crap I'm eating, definitely got to get more salad in me, because those are pretty low in terms. That's 300 to 400 calories for a salad, depending on what I put in it. And that gets me that'll help out during the day. It's dinner. It's the end of the day. I'm hungry. And then I'm that's where it all goes down. And so, And if I eat the calories I have left, I'm going to be sitting there going, damn, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. What do I do? And so, like in prison, you just sit there and you're like, I'm hungry. God damn it, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm so fucking hungry. And then you go to bed. And then you wake up and you go get breakfast because you're so freaking hungry. But you can't do anything about it. Because, like, I guess the best way to lose weight would be to go back to prison. And I really don't want to do that. So, I was looking at, I got to do my online grocery shopping today. I think I'm going to get one of those O-Cedar spinning mops. I saw that we had one at the homeless shelter, and they work really good. The mop that I have, the Bona, Swiffer mop thing that I have with the replaceable pads, it doesn't do a good job here. It was great for the tool shed when I lived there. It did the job. Here, the floors just don't get clean, and that thing doesn't do a good job. So I need an actual mop, a freaking, what do you call it? One of those. This place, I've never really wanted one of these things, but I will vacuum in this place, and then when I get to the other end of this, whatever it is, 40-foot long house, the first part is already looking like it needs to be vacuumed again. It's like the color of the floors. The color of these floors, one little hair falls on the floor, it pops right out. You see everything on the floor. I could vacuum 6 times a day and turn around and look, and the floor looks like it needs to be vacuumed again. Looks like it needs to be mopped again. So one of those Roombas would be sweet here, but that's just money I don't want to spend either. So I'm like, okay, well, what if I've got a broom and a dustpan and a crappy little vacuum cleaner, but I know if I had one of those Roombas and it went around and did its thing a couple times a day, it would make this is the only place I've lived where that would be something. It would actually make a difference here because it would just bop around throughout the day and find its way around, and it would make a huge difference. But like, I got all these other things I got to do, curtains, the list goes on, and I'm just going to whittle away at it. I highly doubt by the time I move out of here that I will have accomplished or done everything I want to do to this place, but it's still good to have a goal, even if I know I won't do it all. But it is like the perfect candidate. It's flat, everything's accessible, the robot can get in and out of all the little nooks and crannies, and like, this is the one place I'm like, damn, that would be nice for here. Other places that I've lived, I've never wanted one because it wouldn't do anything. But here, I'm looking around, I'm like, man, this would be the ideal candidate for one of those things. If I could find one cheap enough on Marketplace, if like something pops up and it's like a few miles away, and I'm like, and it's, that's how it's going to happen. It'll be just some random somebody here in the suburbs is getting rid of one for cheap, and I'll be like, oh, it's only 2 miles away. Yeah, I'll go get it. But otherwise, it's just whatever. But they have those O-Cedar compact little mops with this bucket that spins all the water out of it to wring it out. And we have one of those at the homeless shelter, and they work pretty good. I'd use it on my private bedroom at the homeless shelter. I've seen other people use them, so I've used it. I know how they work. They're pretty good. They have different levels of it, but then I looked at Walmart for the grocery delivery. I can add it to my groceries today, and it'll be here today, so I can have clean floors today. And I think that would do a better job. The problem with the Swiffer, it's a Bona that is the brand, but it's like a Swiffer mop with pads that you don't throw away, you just wash them and use them again. The problem with it is the vacuum cleaner doesn't get all the dust and it doesn't get everything. And so this mop, when you start mopping, it picks up all the dust and dirt and stuff that the vacuum missed, and it just smears it around, and it doesn't like get it. And the other problem with the mop is if there's like a stain on the floor, like food or something else, you can sit there and scrub it and scrub it and scrub it, and this mop won't get it up. So it's a good dust mop. It's a good, like, just once over, spray the floor down and just get it real quick. It's good for that, but it's not going to get the floors looking really clean like a real mop will, where you can just like dip it in the water and just plow on it. And really, the best thing for this place for a mop would be a steam mop, a Shark. The Shark steam mop that I used to have had a steam sprayer and reusable pads, and I had all these hardwood floors at the old house, and that thing was a beast. That thing, I would use that. I taught my son how to use it so I could get him to do all those chores. He liked using it. He was like, this is easy compared to like, he would run I could get him to run the vacuum cleaner and just get out the steamer and steam all the floors for me. But you could flip it over, and it had this nozzle, and if you had a spot on the floor that was stubborn, you could just go with the hot steam, and that shit would come right up. And that would be perfect for this place. But the good steamers that have the blaster on it, they're like $150, and I'm like, yeah, that's for another day. But a regular one of these spin mops is like $30, $35. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna add that to my grocery list, and someday I'll get a steam mop. A Roomba and a steam mop would do the job here, but I'm trying to get a car, I'm trying to do things. So I gotta get things done at the same time. So I just gotta kind of like what's gonna work and what doesn't work. And it's gonna give me all these things that I can do reviews on I want to start doing Amazon review videos and posting, have like its own thumbnail format, its own playlist. Yeah, the algorithm will bang on me because I'm doing different. Your videos for YouTube, you're supposed to basically do 10-minute videos about one specific topic and never change what you're talking about and always talk about the same thing over and over, make it stupid for TikTok people and all of that, and then the algorithm will help you out. Because they want to dumb you down. They want you watching dumbass TikTok videos instead of learning stuff or getting in-depth conversation about different subjects. They don't want you to listen to somebody who talks about 20 different things. So, I don't know. This whole thing is starting to suck balls. This platform, the things that they recommend to me to watch are starting to get really just dumb. It's always just dumbass shit. It's never anything I'm actually interested in anymore. I subscribe to so many freaking channels, it's ridiculous. And the only way I can see what those channels are up to is when I log into YouTube, hit the subscriptions button, and it just lists them, whoever the most recent thing you subscribe to posted. They're in that order. They're in reverse chronological order. Newest first and backwards everything you subscribe to. I hope. But maybe there's people that post things and they don't even show up on that list. I don't know. I'm so sick of this platform. But, until people decide in mass that we're done with YouTube and we're going to go somewhere else, this is what you got to do. So yeah, grocery shopping. I tried to look into like H-E-B. I don't like Walmart. H-E-B I like better. And I was like, yesterday's video I was talking about how H-E-B got their name, because I'm like, this is a dumb name for a grocery store. H-E-B, what does it even mean? Well, it stands for Howard E. Butt. And it actually used to be called Butt Grocery. And I'm like, oh yeah, you made the right decision there, dog. If I moved to Texas and the biggest grocery store in town was called Butt Grocery, I'd be like, yeah, I think I can go shopping there, But I think I'm going to go to Walmart instead, or I'm going to go somewhere else. Kroger, here we come. I'm not going to the butt grocery store. So, but I think HEB may have missed out on an opportunity if they would have kept the name Butt Grocery. They could have called. I mean, think about it though. They have their own product line, right, at every grocery store. So, like, if you're broke and you can't afford the Hershey Squirts for your ice cream, do you have to get the butt chocolate for your ice cream topping that week, the generic brand? Or if you need hamburger buns, do you got to get the butt buns? I don't know. Like, they could call every roast in the cooler a butt roast, but then you're just going to confuse everybody because there are different kind of roasts. But if they all say butt roast, how are you going to know which is which? Like, you could get the pork butts this week. Like, there's so many things that could go wrong when you name your grocery store the Butt Grocery Store. I mean, change it. If you're Howard E. Butt and you're that rich, couldn't you just change your last name? Like, couldn't you just, like, it doesn't cost that much. Hire a lawyer. It's like $600 to have a lawyer change your last name and go through the motions or whatever. I mean, if you're a woman in the Butt family and the Butt family dynasty and you get married, that's probably the happiest day of your life when you get to change your last name to your husband's name. Like, oh, I can't wait to get married to you so I can get rid of this fucking name. I cannot wait. The Butt family fortune will still stay in, your hands, but they did miss out on an opportunity at the Butt Grocery Store. If they would have kept their original name, think about all the songs that they could buy the licenses for their commercials. You remember that? You remember that song, "Doing the Butt"? Hey, sexy, sexy. Doing the butt. Hey, get your grocery. If you want to save your butt all day long, right? Or what about that other song? What? In the butt. What? In the butt. They could use that song. And of course, we cannot forget, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Those other grocers can't deny. When you save a little bitty money in this place with a rump roast, in that case you get sprung. Yeah, baby back ribs, right? There are so many songs about butts that they could have had nationwide play, one commercial after the next. I'm telling you, I just saw on the Tour de France, I saw a commercial where they used that "Lick My Pussy, Lick My Crack" song for a deodorant commercial. This big fat black girl's all like, my neck, my back. And I'm like, get out, what is this? She's all like, my neck, my back, put that deodorant on like that. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Oh my God. She's like, my neck, my back, you don't want to smell like that. Right? And I'm like, I'm telling you, look this up. It's real. And there's no secret in that woman's deodorant. That's for sure. I'm just like, wow, those little kids are watching this, for crying out loud. What are you gonna tell your little kids? I guess, if you use that deodorant and you go to lick her pussy and her crack, it ain't gonna smell as bad as it would have otherwise. I don't know. I don't get what they're trying to do here. I guess are they gonna have wet ass pussy for the Summer's Eve douche commercial? Are they gonna be using wet ass pussy? Got this big old bag for my wet ass pussy, right? What the fuck are they doing? What the fuck are they doing? I would never want to work in an ad agency again. It's such a fucking shit show at these places anymore. But anyway, It's 45 minutes. I'm watching the Tour de France. I'm at stage 13. So here's the up to the minute latest greatest breaking news. So today I'm watching stage 13 of the Tour de France. I'll take a break here and there. I'll watch like 20 minutes, go back to work. Tonight when I'm burned out, I'll watch until I fall asleep. I think they're doing stage 19 is today. So I'm going to talk, why not? I'm going to talk about stage 11 today for you guys. And then next week, when the video gets published, the Tour de France will have ended days ago, and you'll be hearing my commentary about stage 11 today when you're watching this video. But who cares? Stage 11 was another one of these flat stages where they don't go up and down too many hills. It's pretty flat. Sometimes the flat stages have some little hills that are worth like 1 point in the King of the Mountains contest. But sometimes, they're usually, honestly, the flat ones. Well, one of the things I need to do and get better at, and I'm probably, in fact, before I even start talking, I'm going to check this out. What up? It did pick the perfect time to cut out, but one of the things I got to get better at, check my battery, check my storage space before I record a video. This time it was the battery, but the storage space was pretty much empty as well, so one or the other would have cut me off in mid-sentence. And it was actually perfect timing because I was just about to talk about the Tour de France and give you the latest breaking news updates to the tour, of which today I'm watching stage 13 and I'm still not done, and I will probably be done watching it before I go to bed tonight. But they're racing in stage 19 today. Stage 21 is Friday, Sunday, that'll be the end of it. And I'm talking about stage 11 with you right now, which this video will release about a week later. So the tour will be all wrapped up and done by the time you get this late breaking news. But my commentary is not the same as what you're going to get from anybody else. Put it that way. Grocery delivery might show up. Probably not. I don't think they're supposed to be here until 5. I'm just going to put my order up on the screen because they'll tell me. They kind of do what the Domino's Pizza app does. We're gathering your stuff. We're on the way, etc. But they should be here. I've done this a few times. They're at my door right when the delivery window opens. I'm right down the street. I'm less than a mile away, so that works out pretty good. I'm really enjoying not having to go to the grocery store. This wouldn't have worked really when I lived in the tool shed. This would have been a pain in my ass because of all the other people that live there and the landlord and all that crap. So this actually but I lived closer to that grocery store than I do here. And I don't mind going on the walk and doing it and even carrying all the stuff. But today I ordered a mop. I got the O-Cedar Easy Ring Spin Mop and Bucket combo thing. I've used them before. They have a couple of different versions. I got the cheapest version. They got one where they separate the clean and the dirty water, and I'm like, yeah, that would be nice, but then it's also a pain in the ass to clean. I could have gone a little bit cheaper on a mop and a bucket, but the only buckets that they had would just I'd end up dumping it out on the floor. So this will work. It's compact. It'll do the job. It'll be way better to have a mop with liquid. Like, I can get some of the marks off of the floor, and it'll do a better job when it comes to getting the just anything that the sweeper, the vacuum cleaner, and the broom doesn't pick up. This will do a better job getting that off the floor Where the other one, the other mop, the thing that I've been using, it's kind of like a Swiffer with a permanent, a replaceable pad that you don't throw away, you just wash. All it does is kind of smear everything around, and it just leaves a line of gunk as you mop, and it wastes a lot of floor spray and stuff like that. It worked great in the tool shed because the room was so small and that floor was such a piece of crap. But here I need something better. So, little upgrade. I had to reduce the amount of food I bought in order to slide that into my grocery budget, but that's fine. I'll still be good to go. I got enough. I'm gonna eating good in the neighborhood. Gotta get this belly down, and I'm not even trying. I'm tracking what I eat, but I'm not. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna. Knew that was on deck. Hold on a second. Well, it's a good thing I had to sneeze because I forgot to delete all the video files that I just backed up on the phone, so it would have cut this thing off lickety split, even if I hadn't sneezed and had to stop the video to go take care of that. So groceries on the way. Tomorrow I'm gonna have to stop on my bicycle ride and pick up some half and half and the good milk in the glass bottles, and maybe one other thing that Walmart didn't have on my grocery list that I actually need to get. And if I don't get it tomorrow, I could probably have Amazon send it, but if I don't have it over the weekend, I'll go crazy. So it's not food, it's basically itchy legs sometimes. Don't really know why, but this has been a problem for years. Don't really know what's going on there, but to hell with going to the doctor, because they'll just make it worse. Or that we can fix your itchy legs, and now I have heart clots and heart palpitations and heart attacks and all that kind of stuff. So they'll be slipping in one of Dr. Fauci's shots when I'm not looking, and no, fuck all that. Stage 11, Tour de France. Let's do it now because I'm only falling farther behind. It's a flat stage. Could be boring. The flat ones are usually kind of boring, especially if there's nothing in the beginning of the race and they don't have any motivation to fight each other for the lead and for a breakaway, because a group of 100 riders can catch 2 or 3. If 2 or 3 riders take off in a breakaway where they just take off from the group can pull them back. The front people can get 10, 15 minutes ahead, and the main group can catch them. Because a group of 100 riders can ride a lot faster than a group of 3 people when it comes to wind and air resistance and all that. Because the group of 100 riders can take turns at the front, going all out. Everybody else in the group gets sheltered from the wind. And then they just take turns, and so you basically just got everybody at the front is in full force. They can go probably 35, 40 an hour, where the people up front, if you're on your own, you're going like 30. So, and they got this down to a science. The team car, the directors, they'll tell the riders when to start ramping it up. And a lot of times they'll catch someone right at the finish line. It's fucking hilarious to watch. So Ben Healy, the Irish guy, is in the yellow jersey after he was cut from the British mountain biking team. And so the British Cycling Mountain Bike Academy, he was kicked out, cut, something or other. He was almost out of options for his cycling career to go forward. And the British were like, we don't want you. So his dad was Irish, so he went over to Ireland and fought his way onto a cycling team, and now he's wearing the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. and I'd be right there with Great Britain to my back, middle fingers in the air, ha bitches. None of you Brits are wearing the yellow jersey this year, huh? Sucks to be you. Fuck Great Britain. It says when he was 16, it happened when he was 16 years old. He was dropped by the Mountain Bike Academy, and he just didn't know. And you got to be young. You got to get into this crap when you're young. You can't just be like 22 years old and say, I'm going to take up bike racing and expect to go pro. You got to have a bicycling race resume when you're like 15, 16 years old. You got to start going to like, it's just like a lot of pro sports are like that. Soccer's like that. Pro soccer teams in Europe, they're scouting for the kids when these kids are like 10 years old. And that's when you got to get in. If you don't get scooped up by then, the chances of you becoming a pro are pretty much none. Same with hockey, other sports. I mean, there's a chance. I mean, there's always a chance. But it's not like football where they're scouting you out. But even in football, the college, you don't get into the college football team, the big ones. You don't get to be a football player at Penn State if you didn't get scouted out when you were in high school. And you didn't get to be on the high school football team unless you were good as a kid. So there's rungs of the ladder that you climb. And sometimes, I've seen it. There was one dude in Rochester. I can't remember his name, but when I was in high school, there was a high school kid who went straight to the NBA, got to skip college. I don't remember him doing anything because, he's good enough to get to the NBA, but was he good enough to hang with the big dogs? And then, I don't think I've ever heard his name since. I'd remember it if I heard the name. Mid-90s, Rochester, New York, some kid was plucked out of high school to go to the NBA, but if he didn't make anything of himself, probably spent all that money, especially if you're like a 16, 18-year-old kid getting that money, and you're not like, you're getting like league minimum or maybe a little more to prove yourself, and maybe it didn't go that great, and you're buying whips and going to the strip clubs and blowing all that money like you're in a rap video just throwing money everywhere, then yeah, he's probably working at McDonald's now. Who knows? That might have just dried up. So it's the same with cycling. You got to get started young. He said that on the mountain bikes side, there wasn't much support to get you out and abroad, so he needed to change to the road cycling to make his career take off. He basically, he sent his resume to a junior team and got on. He had to have a fucking resume at 16 years old to get on a certain cycling team, and it just kind of springboards from there. Like, how many 16-year-old kids have a resume of anything, let alone, this is my illustrious cycling career and all the races I've won and blah, blah, blah. So, Britain didn't want anything to do with him. He moved to Ireland and his career took off. And I'm not saying that he's ready to join the IRA and start parking car bombs all over Great Britain or anything like that, but it is nice to see another Irish lad sticking it to the British in his own way. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan now. I'm always going to root for the guy. He got himself a yellow helmet, a yellow bike, a yellow jersey. That's the nice thing about the Tour de France is whoever's in the lead, you got a group of 200 riders. There he is. You pop right out. Back in the day, they weren't even required to wear helmets. They would wear either... they wouldn't wear them. They didn't want to wear them. They might go bareheaded. They might wear a hat. They might wear. They have these leather helmet things, like these leather straps that would go around the head, kind of like those useless leather football helmets that they would wear back in the day. It was more like just the football helmets were basically just a brain bucket, so that if your head cracked open, there was a leather bowl over your head to keep the brains from going all over the place. But they didn't do anything to protect your head. Same thing with the cycling helmets. It's more like it's just to keep your, if you bust your head open on a rock because you flipped over your handlebars, it'll keep everything kind of in place when they scrape you up off the road, but it's not gonna keep you from getting hurt. There's plenty of photos of Greg LeMond, Miguel Indurain, and even Lance Armstrong going up a mountain in his yellow jersey with no helmet. None of them wanted to wear helmets. It gets hot. And if you're on a mountain stage where you're mostly climbing all day, it's lighter, the wind, the breeze. But you still have to go down on these. And when they go downhill, they're hitting 60, 70 miles an hour on these twisty, turny mountain roads, and people have died. But, wearing a helmet makes you look like a pussy, so why, that's why they don't want to wear them. That's the other reason they don't want to wear them. They're uncomfortable, they're hot, make you look like a pussy, et cetera, et cetera. So they made it mandatory in 2003 to wear a helmet for all major bike races. Around that year was when they started making you wear helmets. There's a guy named Tom Simpson, prominent cyclist, died touring during the Tour de France in 1967. And media coverage of that was one of the things that raised public awareness about safety and wearing helmets and all that kind of stuff. And, I was kind of hit or miss on wearing helmets as a kid. But I can tell you 3 incidents that changed my mind. The first one, I got hit head on by a car, straight up. Long story short, I'm going 45, that's what my computer said, 45 miles an hour down a hill. A 90-year-old lady, this was the last time she ever drove a car. In fact, her driveway, so the road's going down this way, and her driveway is in an angle like this. So like almost parallel to the road, but she had to go across the road to pull into her driveway. I'm going down the hill 45 miles an hour. She's going about 45 the other way. No blinker, no turn signal. She just swerves right in front of me to go into her driveway. Imagine like that is the angle. This is the road I'm coming down. This is her driveway. I'm coming down this hill, and she's going this way, and she swerves to, it's like a Y, it's like the letter Y. So she's taking the left fork of the letter Y, I'm coming down the right fork of the letter Y. And she swerves right in front of me, going about 45 miles an hour. I was going 45. Boom! Hit the front of her car so hard. And it was like so fast. It was so fast. I didn't even have the time to go, what the? I didn't even get to the F before I was in the air. I hit that front of that car so hard, I flew over the car. I came right out of my bicycle, flew over the car, landed like 30 feet away. Like, have you ever seen the videos of where they'll put a crash test dummy in a seat and they won't put a seatbelt on, and it'll be like a sled, and they'll say, here's a 30-mile-an-hour crash. Boom, they'll stop it, and the crash test dummy just goes flying. Well, this was like 45 miles an hour me, her coming at me 45 miles an hour, do the math, calculate the force of the collision, and I flew like fucking Superman over that shit so far that I landed in the grass on the side of the road on my back shoulder upside down and just slid across a bunch of wet grass and soft mud. I had a whole streak of mud going all the way down my body, down my leg, down to my foot. And there were these people on the porch across the road, saw the whole thing happen. And they called 911, and they're like, 911, what's your emergency? Oh my God, we just saw someone get killed in front of us. And then I jump up like this. I hit the grass. I didn't even come to a complete stop. I'm back on my feet, running. Adrenaline, pissed off. Like, imagine being in that situation. Your adrenaline, your aggression, mad. I went up to this old lady's car and I'm punching the fucking car. I'm like, you fucking dumb old bitch, get the fuck out of the car. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like 15, 16 years old. I was about ready, and so the people on the porch, they're like, oh my God, he's alive. Somebody else is about to get killed. Hurry up. and so I calmed down. But it took a minute. The people on the porch came running across the road. People were stopping in the road to see what the fuck. Like, the whole thing was a big scene. And it wasn't long. Ambulances were coming, cops, the whole fucking thing. The whole road was closed off. It was like I had just gotten killed, except I'm about to kill somebody. I wouldn't have even had time to beat down this old lady before the cops were there and the ambulance. It was like fast, because I was almost to the town. Just past where she lived, it would flatten out a little bit. I'd be in the town, and then down another hill was the fire department where all this shit was. So the fire department, the ambulance was like 2 minutes away. So they were on it. And they're all looking at me like, the ambulance people are like, you're all right? I'm like, I'm fine. They're like, you sure you don't want to? I'm like, I guess I'll go to the hospital. My bicycle was folded in half. Folded in half like a fucking taco. The front wheel was behind the back wheel. The fucking thing was all destroyed. That's like hitting a brick wall at 80 miles an hour. It was fucking crazy. So that was the first time. I wasn't wearing, oh, by the way, when I got hit by that old lady, I wasn't wearing a helmet. And I went to the hospital. I got checked out. No, nothing. Had a couple of scrapes. Somebody took me home. My parents weren't even, this was before cell phones and all that shit. My parents had no idea what was going on. They weren't even home. I don't even remember where they were. I get home. I called into work. My boss was like, where the fuck are you? He was all mad. I worked at a bicycle shop. He was all mad at me. And then I told him what happened. He was like, oh, fuck. Sorry, man. Oh, shit. I hope you're okay. Like, he felt really bad for getting mad at me for being late to work. It wasn't like one of those, well, when you're done at the hospital, you're getting docked. You know what I mean? He was like, oh shit. Oh my God, are you okay? Like, but at first, when he picked up the phone, he's like, where the fuck are you, Adam? And, I wasn't known for being late. I never was late to my job. But he was kind of high strung. But we were cool. It was cool. Nothing, no harm, no foul. He was like, go ahead and he's like, dude, take the day off. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. I got home. Somebody gave me a ride home. I was so fucking pissed. I took my bicycle and just threw it up against the retainer wall in my parents' driveway, went stomping into the house, fucking slammed the door, and I'm like laying on the couch. Because now I don't have a bicycle. I'm fucking mad. Like, my parents come home and they see my crumpled up bicycle all folded up like a pretzel. And they come running in the house. They're like, oh my God, what happened? I told them what happened. My mom gets on the phone. She calls up the old lady that hit me. She's like, you stupid old bitch, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. Turns out it was the wrong old lady. She thought my grandfather said who it was. It was my mom. Turns out the old lady that my mom called was blind, had gone blind and hadn't drove a car in years. And my mom's screaming at her, calling her a dumb bitch and all this. You stupid old bitch, blah, blah, blah. So some blind lady got chewed out by my mom. And then my mom called the woman who hit me and bitched her out. Made sure she never drove a car after that day. She was basically legally blind. She was like 90 years old. She couldn't control the car. She couldn't I mean, nobody knows how she even got where she was going that day, let alone came home. Like, she really should not have been driving a car. So that was number one. Number two was in a mountain bike crash. A few years later, I was riding with a group of my friends on a mountain bike ride. This dude in front of me, the last thing I remember was he was kicking up, it was a dry, hot day. Dust was coming up off of all of the people's back wheels going down this really steep hill. And it was in the ski resort area of Western New York near Holiday Valley. So there's a lot of decent sized hills there. And we were flying down this hill, but it was all dusty and dry. So everybody in front of us was kicking up dust. It was just, you couldn't see. And then this dude in front of me was kicking up more dust right in my face. I couldn't see anything. I'm like, this. And I'm like, Terry, get your fat ass out of the way. And that's the last thing I remember. I hit something. I hit a run. There was like a rut from where water runs down the hill and it'll dig out a trench. I hit something that sent me flying. And I hit my head on a rock, like a boulder. I smacked my head straight into a boulder. And I was knocked out just laying on the trail. People came to a stop before. I woke up in a creek. I had been carried down the hill unconscious, put in the creek, and people were splashing water on my face trying to get me to wake up. Turns out, my helmet broke in half. I had a helmet on. Thank God. That would have been my brain. That would have been my last bike ride right there. I had a helmet on. The helmet broke in half. Just broke in half. So I went like this, and my hand was here, and I'm like, what the fuck? I had like a big old Rocky Balboa goose egg sticking out the side of my forehead, like Rocky had at the end of his fight with Mr. T. And I'm like, oh shit. I couldn't walk. I was all dizzy. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk. Like, people were like carrying me like Weekend at Bernie's back to the parking lot. And I'm just my bike was pretty much fine. It was rideable. Like, there really wasn't any. I was launched from my bike and just bam into a rock. And I don't remember any of it. Don't remember a thing. Took me down to the back of someone's Cherokee and set me up with a place to chill and basically take a nap. I was fine, more or less. I come home. Now, the night before, I'd been partying with my friends. Pretty fucking ridiculous party. And the next morning, we were hung over so bad. So bad, hung over. I'm like 17 years old, 18 years old. I stumbled over to my friend, to my buddy's house to get ready to go for the bike ride. They had to pull over for me to open up the side door and barf out the side of the vehicle on the way to the mountain bike ride. It was like a 2-hour drive to go down to where we were biking. And so this was how the morning started. And now I'm laying in a creek. I got this. I come home. My mom's like, what in the hell happened to you? We're going to the hospital. I'm like, no. Because I didn't know anything. I didn't want the doctor telling my mom, oh, he's all dizzy and shit because he's hungover. Oh, and he was smoking weed because after somebody came up with a joint while I was laying in the back of this thing like this, and they're like, this will make you feel better. And I'm like, all right. Oh, wow, I do feel a lot better. Holy shit. That was awesome. And so that helped. That helped everything. That took away the hangover. It took away the pain. I was loving life all the way home. So I get home, I'm all like, yo, just completely shot out. Goose egg on my head, like black. The whole side of my face is just black. This big lump on my forehead. And my mom sees my helmet broken in half. She's like, we're going to the hospital. I'm like, no. I just went straight to bed and slept for like a day. Went to school, couldn't open my eye. Like, school's like wanting to report my parents for child abuse and like, what the fuck? It was crazy, but yeah, I could have died. I'm after the car accident, I honestly don't think, after the car accident, I don't think I've ever gone on a bike ride without a helmet on my head ever again. And I was like 15, 16 when that happened. This was like 18, I think. 18 probably, when the mountain bike crash happened. So later on in life, the third time that I was taught you must wear a helmet, I was wearing one. Me and my best friend were going down a bike trail in Pittsburgh. Now I'm like 30 years old, somewhere in that range, let's say. Late 20s, early 30, probably late 20s. Friend and I used to go biking almost 3 times a week, and we were fast. We would get together and we would fly. And we were going down, it was night, we were going down this one cycling trail in Pittsburgh along one of the rivers. And it was raining out, sprinkling, like not hard, but it was wet and slippery. And we both had lights, but they were the kind of lights that take like AAA batteries. And so those kind of lights are good for people to see you. And they give you a little bit of vision going down the road and such. But they don't really light up. Like the lights I take cycling now are like car headlights. I can bright beam. If someone gets shitty with me at night and high beams me when I'm going down the road, I can look straight at the driver's seat, hit this button on my helmet, and it's like, beep! And they're gonna think that they just died, and that's the light that you see when you're about to go to heaven, and they're not gonna see anything else. That light is so fucking bright. It's brighter than the car headlights bright blasting me. And that's how I roll at night now, because we're going down this bike trail, flying probably 25 miles an hour. All of a sudden, right in front of me, I'm like, oh, shit! And I don't even think I got the whole word out of my mouth. There's a gate. They have these triangular gates. So there's a hinge, here's the hinge. There's a bar that goes like this, and then there's a bar that goes from the hinge up, and they meet like this, and so it's like a triangle. Bing, bing, bing. And it's a triangular bar on a hinge, and the gate was closed. And I'm like 5 feet from, maybe 10 feet from the gate, going 25 miles an hour. I'm like, oh shit! That's all. I don't remember anything. I remember what happened because it was all slow motion. So that, you know how they say when you're in an emergency situation, your brain can do something that makes everything slow down. And so this felt like 30 seconds. I saw the gate. I go like this. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to stop. I'm hitting this thing at 25, 30 miles an hour no matter what. The gate is like this, right? So the bar at the top goes parallel. So there's a hole. There's a hole right here because it's a triangle on its side. And there's this part where the gate shuts and the latch is there, and then underneath that, it's like a triangle. Somehow, I don't know how I did this, 25, 30 miles an hour, I knew I couldn't, I figured out that I couldn't stop. I went like this and just dove for the hole under the gate. And my bike goes BAM! Into the gate, and I go under the gate on my fucking body and my head, my head smacks on the pavement, and I go right under the gate and slide out and pop out the other side of the gate. And then I sit up and I'm like, holy fucking shit, right? So keep in mind, my best friend was right behind me, this close to my back wheel. He was drafting me. His front wheel was 3 inches from my back wheel. So now that whole process of me seeing the gate, somehow maneuvering so that the bike would go on the ground and I would somehow blast through the hole in the gate so that I wouldn't hit the gate and come out the other side, sit up and be like, what the hell just happened, was about maybe half of a second. It was fast, like faster than I can do that. All of that, but in my mind, it felt like a minute and a half. It was like slow. I was like, whoa. Going through the fucking thing. And then I come to a stop. I sit up. Now, let's go to my friend. We didn't even talk about him yet. From his perspective, his view of the situation was, we're going 25, 30 miles an hour down this fucking bike trail. All of a sudden, Adam just goes boop down in front of him. And he's like, oh shit. And he sees the gate now. And he's a bike length away from the gate. He doesn't even know how he did it. Same thing, slow motion took over in his brain. And somehow he unclipped from his bike pedals. His bike went bang into the gate. He had somehow unclipped from his bike pedals and jumped up in the air like a hurdler from the fucking Olympics. And he jumped over it with his legs spread out like he was running the fucking hurdles in a track and field event. And all of a sudden, he flipped around backwards, he landed on his right leg, and he hop, and came to a stop and landed on his fucking feet. It wasn't a perfect 10. The judges in the gymnastics division would have deducted about 3 points off of his score because he took like 4 hops with his right leg. But he jumped over the gate with his legs spread like a hurdler, flipped over backwards from the momentum of everything, landed on his right leg, hop, came to a stop, both legs on the ground, never fucking hit the dirt. Never hit his head, never touched the gate, never got hurt. He just landed it, like boom, yeah! So now he runs over to me, he's like, dude, are you okay? I get up, I'm okay. There's people in the parking lot. I think there was like a dude and a girl, like, you know, because it was dark, it was nighttime, and this was like an out-of-the-way parking lot. I think there was a little something like that going on in the parking lot, but all of a sudden this dude's like, holy shit, man, are you all right? And he's like coming over to me, he's like, do I gotta call 911? What's going on? I'm like, no. We don't want the cops coming here. We definitely don't want the cops coming. Just we're cool, good. Just go brush my shoulder off here. I had a couple of holes in my shirt. Helmet. My helmet didn't break, but I had 3 rocks from the bike trail, stones, stuck in my helmet. And this was a foam helmet with a molded plastic cover that covered. It was a really sweet helmet. That's my favorite helmet of all time. But it had 3 stones embedded in the foam, in the helmet, broke through the plastic layer and embedded, even with the helmet itself, stones. 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, bang. 3 stones embedded in the helmet. So, and I noticed it because I took off the helmet. I'm like, whoa, look at that. And so I had blood gushing down my right leg. Turns out, and it wasn't like I didn't need stitches or nothing, a stone gashed into my shin, and it dug deep enough that I was bleeding down my leg. So we checked out our bike. Our bikes were fine. They smashed into this gate at like 30 miles an hour. I had to like twist my handlebars back in. I believe it was the Red Rocket that I ride to this day. I'm pretty sure that it may have been a different bike. I don't know, but all I had to do was straighten out my handlebars a little bit, spin the wheels. Wheels were fine. Everything was fine. Like there were some gashes, there were some scraped up handlebars, that kind of thing. My buddy, his bike was fine. We picked him up. We went over the bikes. We made the handlebars straight again. We did all this shit. We're like, both of us are just like, looks good to me. Let's go. So we left from the gate, and now we're chilling. We're going at a reasonable pace. We're not flying down the bike trail now at 30 miles an hour. We're going slow because if something jumps out, we know now, oh, these lights are no good. Can't see that far ahead. We weren't thinking about that. Usually these gates are open. So we weren't even thinking about it. All of a sudden they had a gate closed that's normally not. Bam! Like that. Like you didn't even see it coming. But I kept the stones in my helmet. And I continued to wear that helmet for years. In fact, I still owned that helmet when the FBI came to my house, and it still had the stones in it. And it was just a conversation piece at that point. I would show up to group bike rides and people would be like, dude, you know you got some stones in your helmet? Well, let me tell you the story of how that happened, and it would just lead to a fun conversation. But that's 3 times, right? Get hit by the car, the mountain bike crash, the stones in my helmet. Pretty sure that is the... I'm pretty sure that covers it. But yeah, I mean, those are 3 times that I could have been killed in a crash, a bicycle crash, if I wasn't wearing a helmet. Well, the first time I wasn't, and I'm just lucky. The second 2 times would have been death. Like 3 stones would have been embedded in my skull instead of a helmet. So I can't. I went for a ride the other day to the grocery store, and I got like a 1/4 mile down the road, and I'm like, where's my helmet? I turned around and got that shit. I wasn't taking any. I'm like, nope, not going to get my helmet. Normally it wouldn't even be a thing to forget a helmet, but no, a helmet will save your life. But a lot of the pro racers, they don't, like even on those mountain stages, they figure, if I go flying off the road at 70 miles an hour and all I've got is a helmet and nothing, like I'm still probably gonna die, or I'm gonna be eating applesauce through a spoon or through a straw for the rest of my life. So what the fuck good is the helmet gonna do? But I'm telling you, you won't see me out on a bicycle without a helmet on my head. I made my kids wear them. I'm like, no, you're not even going to ride around the fucking driveway without a helmet on your head. I have not been in a situation where I haven't had a crash in a long time. I don't ride aggressively anymore. My aggressive riding right now, this day and age, is nowhere even close to how I used to be. Now I'm just trying to get from point A to B to survive it. I'm not trying to like do crazy shit anymore. And but yeah, there's your Tour de France coverage on the helmet situation. That's a long-winded explanation. That's why you wear a helmet in the Tour de France. I didn't even start stage 11 yet. It was flat, but it had 5 small climbs. But it was kind of an interesting stage because it starts and ends in the same town, Toulouse. So it's like a big loop. They start in the town, they go out into the country, do a big loop, and come back, and the finish line is really close to where the start line was. So if you're in the town that day and you want to watch the Tour de France, you get to see them ride out of town, and then you get to see them come back to the finish line, and you could do both in the same day, without having to be a VIP with your own helicopter and all that kind of crap. So the Tour de France is just fun. It's a lot of variety. Every day is different. Each stage favors a different kind of bicyclist. So nobody's ever won all the stages of the Tour de France, even when they only had 6 stages. The most anybody ever won in the early days when it was 6 stages would have been 3. And in the modern day, I don't know, I have it somewhere in my notes. I'll talk about it when I get there, I guess. Another way I thought maybe you could cheat through the Tour de France is you've got the team cars. Why not have one of your buddies in the team car go buy riders from the other team, pepper spray them, get out some bear spray and be like, psst, see ya, right? Well, that's strictly forbidden, of course, as we all know. You can't spray anything. You can't even spray water. Like, you can't have a water hose to spray down your rider on your team to cool them off. You'll see the riders dump water bottles on their heads to cool themselves off and stuff. I do that too. It works, because when you're riding a bike, there's wind flow, there's air flow. So if you get all hot and sweaty, you can dump your water on your head, and it cools you off. If it's 97 degrees out, it's not as bad as running. Running, you're not moving fast enough for that airflow to cool you off, but on a bicycle you do. You can dump it all over your jersey, and as it evaporates, it's cooling you off. But if if the humidity is high, it'll still cool you off, but you'll be wet. You're going to be wet from sweating anyway. So, stage 11, I had to stop and do some bicycle maintenance. I got a second wind at like 9:15 in the evening, and I decided to get the Silver Bullet prepped. I had new brake pads to put on it. I bought a really cool, really tiny little compact bell that is loud as hell. It's hell's bells, I swear to God. You hear that thing, you can probably hear that thing from 2 football fields away, and all it is a little lever. Bing! It's like a tuning fork in a curve, and it's like right on the handle. You don't even notice it's there. And all I do is flick this little switch, and it goes, and it's loud. I could probably go through the suburbs to all these McMansions and stuff and just ding that thing a few times and then listen to 150 barking dogs in the background waking up all these fucking douchebags in the woodlands. That would be fucking hilarious. I think I'm gonna do that the next time I roll in the morning. But and then I had a mount to mount my Garmin wristwatch. Not this, but I have a GPS watch that's about this big, and it's a GPS device. It's black and white screen, very primitive GPS, but it takes 2 AAA batteries, and you get 7 days of use out of it. And it will record your path. It tells you your speed, your average speed, your elevation gain up and down. I can pair it with a heart rate monitor. Not this, as far as I'm aware, but I can get heart rate data hooked into it, and it's a very powerful device. I'm using that now instead. I was gonna get a speedometer, and I'm like, I have a speedometer, just get a little thing. It was like $10 to mount that to the handlebars. So I got it all working. I predicted it was gonna take an hour, and I finished everything, put air in the tires, hung up the bike, looked at the time, it was 10:15. It took exactly 1 hour to do all of the things I wanted to do to the bike, and now both of my bikes are back in use. The Red Rocket needs new brake pads, but I think I'm still a little ways away from where I'm going to hear metal crunching against metal, and I'll get it done before that happens, but it probably won't be this weekend. Let's see. But now I have a good cycle computer on both bikes. I can see how fast I'm going as I'm riding. It was really cool. I used it. I went to work on the very next morning, and I'm like, man, this is so much nicer because I don't have a phone mount or anything on that Silver Bullet. So when I'm riding, I kind of have to guess how fast I'm going by how fast it feels. And you'd be surprised when you ride a bicycle a lot, you can guess your speed. You can do a pretty good job. But it's still nice to know sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to not know how fast you're going and how far you need to go and just kind of forget about all of that. But not when I'm going the shorter distances. I got some thin wrenches on Amazon, a whole set, a big set, all the way from like 5 millimeter to 24 millimeter without skipping a single size. They were on Prime Day for $25 and it comes with a roll-up pouch to store them in. Not the best brand, not the best quality, but not the worst ones they have either. And the best ones that they had, I bought, but they were missing all these different sizes in the set, and I needed the sizes that were missing, so I sent them back. And then I got these several months later, and I was able to do some of the work on the Silver Bullet that I couldn't do because I didn't have a wrench to do it with. So that worked out nice. So back to the tour. The EF jersey. I think all cycling jerseys are ugly as shit. The best one I've seen so far this year was a dude who passed me on the bike trail wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey. It was just the big Buffalo Bills logo on the back, and I was like, that is tight. That's fucking cool. I'm like, I gotta get a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey. Not that I give that much of a crap about sports ball, but if I was gonna get a real cycling jersey, I would get something like that. I wouldn't want to wear like some dumbass bank, like PNC Bank or some dumb shit on my... No. I want something cool. In fact, I don't even think I would get a sports team. I'm going to look for something that's offensive, like something that if a liberal sees me going down the bike trail, they're going to be like, oh, fuck him. Like anything I can find like that would be awesome. So I got to do a little homework on that. Like when Joe Biden was president, maybe Joe Biden making a dumb old Alzheimer's face or something like that. I don't know. I gotta see what's available, but there's gotta be something out there that's funny, offensive. It's not some dumb insurance company logo or or some company name. Like, I don't want any of that. And if not, then fine. I do have a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey. It's kind of a weird color, but I do have a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey that I wear from time to time. I found it at a thrift store. I was like, yeah, I'll get that. It was like $2-3. I don't know. I wear it. So I'm pretty happy that I can ride the Silver Bullet and the Red Rocket interchangeably once again. On the Silver Bullet, I don't have music. I decided I'm not going to go through the hassle of trying to figure out how to put speakers on it. I want to keep the Silver Bullet minimalist. Like, I want the things on it that I kind of need. The bell, I've noticed that I don't have a bell, and then I got to yell when I'm coming up on people on the bike trail especially, and they don't want to get out of the way. Then I got to be like, coming on your left, or I got to yell something. Now I can just go, beep! And if they don't move, I can be like, beep! And that's going to scare the shit out of them. And I can't even believe how loud things like this big. And it's louder than I just did. I can't even be that loud. Love it. It was like $10. It was the coolest freaking thing. I saw one for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and then I looked on Amazon. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 50 of these things. And I looked at each one, like I did the whole, which one of the 50 do I want to get? And so the Red Rocket is like a full cockpit, long distance travel machine. If I have to ride somewhere in town, where I don't know where I'm going. I got a cell phone mount, bam, and it's locked. If I crash that bike going 45 miles an hour into a brick wall, the phone won't come out of the mount. Guarantee you that phone is not moving. It's a motorcycle mount for a phone. It's heavy duty, it's beast. That is not gonna do, that phone is not coming out of that clamp. I love it. I can sit there and text message. I can do all the things you're not supposed to do while you drive if I want to. I generally don't, but I can't say I've never sent a text message while I'm going down the road, but I gotta make sure that it's a smooth road and I'm all by myself. Anyway, so Ben Healy, back to the tour. He's on a yellow bike. He's got the yellow jersey. They weren't expecting him to ever get the yellow jersey, so they had to grab a yellow Cannondale frame and fork because that's his team, that's his bike sponsor. And they had to like assemble a bike for him to ride like the night before the next stage. And these fancy road bikes are a bitch to put together. They got all this wiring because they're all electronic now. There's no cables. Well, there's no real cables. There's hydraulic lines and electric wires that go through the bike and all that it's crazy. And they had to build him at least one or two bikes, yellow, so that he'd have a yellow bike to ride the next morning. But that's what they're paid for. Tour de France mechanic, you're not sleeping for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, for the lead up to the tour and probably after the tour, you're pretty much 3-4 months banging. You're not even really talking to your wife and kids like that, but that's what you signed up for. You're working 24 hours a day, probably very little sleep. Your job is to keep those bikes tip-top shape. And you have to be one of the best bicycle mechanics in the world to even get that job. Like, that's not an easy job to get. And you're making bank to do it. So it's worth it, and it's fun, and you get to go to the Tour de France, and you probably have 10 bikes that are just like the ones that you're fixing up for these people. And it's probably a cool job. I could do that job. I'm a little bit out of practice when it comes to all the modern stuff, but I could definitely do that job. I could jump out of the back of a team car with a wheel in my hand, go up to a rider, zip, 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 all right, see ya, and get them going down the road again. I could do that all day long. So stage 11, 172 riders are left. I think they should just put the Squid Games board up on a wall somewhere where they got everybody's face on one of the squares or one of the honeycomb things. And every time a rider crashes out or gets eliminated, it just goes dark. And they're like, Kamisa Kanja, or whatever they say when someone gets whacked in the Squid Games. That might be good for the Tour of Korea. If they did a Korea Tour de France, have the Squid Games board up on the wall, and every time a rider gets whacked, Kamisa Kanja, and it goes dark. And then they got a big pig hanging from the ceiling, and a bunch of money falls into it. That would be fucking hilarious. But on stage 11, it's flat. As soon as the flag dropped, bam, crazy racing. Right from the 0-kilometer start line, they went berserk and just started chasing each other down the road. A lot of attacks and action. It was not a boring race. There were a few small climbs to get King of the Mountains points, but the people who get them aren't going to really matter. 32 miles an hour average speed. The first high mountains in the Pyrenees, or the first mountain climbs in the Tour de France are coming stage 12. And they just had and then that'll be, stage 11 is the first day after the rest day. So, my bad. the first mountains in the Pyrenees mountain range are stage 12. I just watched that. Fucking great. The first mountain stage, the first mountain climbing was stage 10, and that was like a crescendo. The tour builds up to that, and it's a big, like, holy shit day, and then they get a day off, and now it's kind of easy for most of the riders. And they had to get special permission from the UCI to have 10 days in a row without a break, so that stage 10 could be on Bastille Day. Otherwise, Bastille Day, the 4th of July for France, would have had no bike racing that day, and they weren't going to have it. So brutal first 10 days of that race. And it was fun to watch because these people, it's tough. It's like I said, it's like a symphony. And it's like it's a 3-act play with a symphony behind it, right? And the first 10 days is like a crescendo, and it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and then bam, this big mountaintop finish after a week of all kinds of crazy shit. And then they get a day off, and then the next act starts, and it's kind of slow, and it starts to get harder and harder as they get to the next rest day, which has already happened, but I haven't got there yet. And then you got the third act where, if the winner of the tour hasn't already been decided, they're going to go to the Alps and do a whole nother mountain thing. And so it's like a crescendo. The Alps are like the shit, like the top of the top. The Pyrenees are a mountain range of some good size, but the Alps are even higher. And so it's just, it builds and builds and builds and builds, and it's like a 3-act play. And the way that they structure everything is to, they try to make it dramatic and try to make it fun to watch for the fans. And so it's kind of like me leveling up. Every time I get to a new level, I can kind of chill for a minute, and then it starts getting harder and harder and harder, and then it builds up to something like, I gotta solve this problem or I'm screwed. Right now, the challenge of level, whatever level I'm on right now, is getting into a rhythm where I can get things done. Right now, you might say, well, why are you shooting all these videos? I'm taking a break. I did get something done. I sent it to a client, and I'm taking a quick break. It's maybe not so quick. I am going to get through stage 11. So whether you finish this video or not, I gotta move. I gotta get this done. So, but these are all the observations I make. Act 2 is a quick warm up, like I said, but the big mountains come the next day, stage 12, and that shit is where all the tables get flipped upside down. The people who are in the front of the race are in the back of the race. It separates the wheat from the chaff. As soon as they go up the first big mountain, it's like some people just completely blow up and fall apart. Some people that you didn't even know are going to take the fuck off and become superstars. Like, you don't know what'll happen. Here's another not cheating, but cheating tactic that some of the riders use. So sometimes you'll see a rider go across the finish line and they'll just collapse on the ground, and they'll be like, leave me alone, and they'll look like they're completely exhausted after winning a stage in the Tour de France, and they're just laying on the ground, and they're getting like somebody's coming over dumping water on them from their team, and they're just laying there on the ground, and then like they get helped up to their legs and they can hardly walk, and they get put in a chair, and they're just like, oh, like they're completely and totally spent. And what happens is the reporters will stay away from them. They'll be like, oh, leave him alone. Look at, he's in no shape to talk right now, blah, blah, blah. And so then when the rider gets away from the press and all that, and they're on the tour bus, they're like, fuck yeah! Like, they're wound up. That was all pretend. All that, like, I'm exhausted, I can hardly walk, I collapsed onto the ground as soon as I went across the line, I had to be helped up to my feet, and I had to limp into the tour bus and all that. That was just to get people to leave them the fuck alone. And so that they could just, like, they're perfectly fine. They just don't want to be bothered, so they can get right into their rest and relax routine so that they're fresh for the next day's race. And if they were all wound up and excited and all that, they'd be having to do interviews with the reporters and the press microphones and go to the press conference and all that and this and that. So they pretend to be completely spent. And it also tricks the other team, and that the other teams might look and go, look what we did to that guy today. He ain't going to be able to do this again tomorrow, but he's actually, like, he barely even tried today and he whooped all your asses, and he's pretending to be completely spent so that tomorrow you're going to think he's coming to the line, the start line, all worn out and spent, but he's perfectly fine and ready to do it again to you. And they do that shit. They do that shit. It's a dirty, dirty game, and anything. They will do anything to undermine the other riders. There were a couple of 1 and 2 point polka dot jersey climbs on stage 11, but it wasn't, it didn't matter. The next day in the Pyrenees, the first mountain stage, there were 40 points on the line up for grabs. So way more points the next, like, there were enough points on stage 12 that it doesn't matter how many points anybody has. Someone could go from 0 points to having the polka dot jersey on that first day in the mountains, because there's so many points on the table available. But it's a king of the mountains. So when it's flat, they shouldn't, they can get a couple points for some of these hills, but it's not, they shouldn't be getting points like they're the king of some mountain when they just went up a little hill. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they do it. So I mean, a little side bit, got my FitnessPal going so I can track my calories, but it's really just fitness food in my mouth versus trying to do the right thing. I just want to see, like, what can I eat a lot of and not gain weight. I'm really just trying to find some things that'll fill me up, like vegetables and things like that, that'll taste good, but not, like, things I'll feel satisfied but not go 1,000 calorie over my limit for the day. So right now I'm just observing before I start doing anything. Tracking my health a little bit. I got a bunch of different apps. I'm only paying for one, and that's Strava, and that's because I use it a lot. And it's hard to manage all of this fitness data on multiple different apps and stuff. They don't like to talk to each other. They're trying, there's talk of the town that they're gonna try and make this, like, unified fitness data file format so that no matter what apps you use, you can track all of your fitness data in one format, and then that format's compatible with every other app. But all the apps are competing with each other, and they don't want you to be able to take your data and go to some other app. But like for example, a GPX file is compatible with every single GPS device there is. Google Maps, any app or device that does anything with GPS, a GPX file is compatible with any of those. Google has their own format called KML and KMZ. The KML is very compatible with just most apps, and things can handle a KML file. Google Maps can upload a GPX file, a KML, a KMZ. That KMZ is where you include other things like custom icons and stuff like that, and photographs, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with a KMZ that a KML doesn't support. But I've even gotten to the point where, back in the day, certain things like the stair climbs at the Cathedral of Learning in Pittsburgh, I would track in a spreadsheet. And because there wasn't any app that would do that the way I want. And so I had my own spreadsheet with graphs and like on this day I climbed the stairs this many times. Here's my time for number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I could just see like my fitness go up and down. And that was probably the Cathedral of Learning stair climb was probably the best fitness measurement tool I ever had in my life to just gauge where I'm at. Because it's the exact same thing every time. From the basement of the building to the top floor that you can go to. It's like 40 stories, but you can go to floor 38 before there's a locked door and you can't go any higher. And so it's like people go to the top floor when they get there, or there's a lobby, and people just throw their backpacks and all their coats and jackets and everything in a pile behind this desk that's not used. And then you take the elevator to the basement and you start doing your climbs. And so I would time it to the second. As soon as I get off the elevator and I get to a certain line, there's a start line at the bottom of the first steps. Boom, start. As soon as my feet are through the doorway of the top floor, stop. And I would do that, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a time. I never went more than 6 probably. And it would take for me, it would be anywhere from 6 minutes to go up to 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes to go all the way up the 37, 38. Well, it would have been like 39 flights of stairs if you count the basement. And so it's kind of like a poor person's Stairmaster, but better, because it's actual stairs. And so I used to have a smart scale when I lived in Pennsylvania, and then that app wouldn't talk to any of the other apps, or that app would talk to this app, and so that app would get my weight from the smart scale app, and then this app would send the data to this other app, and it's a fucking mess. It's a mess. So if you're gonna do that, if you want to track your health data, you got a Fitbit or whatever, just keep in mind that the more you do, the more you want to track. None of this shit talks to each other. And you just got to live with it. You just don't try to like get your smart scale to sync with this thing perfectly and just all of it talk together and play nice together. They won't. Until they come up with some sort of universal health format for the Apple Watch, the Samsung watches, the Fitbit, the Garmin, the Whoop is another one that just came out, and all the other devices, GPSs, apps, smart scales, all these different things. The blood pressure cuff, the blood sugar tester, all those different things, they all have apps, but I keep the data and I look at it, but I don't try to, there was a point in time where I was trying to make it all perfect. People have tried to make websites that will gather all this different data and unify it into one place where you can see it all, and they fail because the stuff is so out, everything is so incompatible that they can't even figure out how to do that. So back to the race, Metallica dude from America, he got into the chase group to try and get up to the lead riders, and if he could hold the peloton off, maybe he'd have a chance to get a stage win because it's his kind of ride. The sprinter, Johnny Milan, in a sprint, he's going to get crushed. And he's one of Milan's teammates, so he would have to be the lead out guy. When these sprinters go for the finish line, they usually have 3 teammates in front of them pushing a high speed, and then the sprinter stays on the back of the train. And then the front guy comes off, then the next guy comes off, and then the next guy comes off, and the sprinter goes for it. A certain distance from the finish line. It's all science. But job is to keep the sprinter from having to put out all that effort until that one explosive burst at the very end of the race to get to the finish line. Metallica dude got within 24 seconds of the front group at some point, and that dude is a hammering. I wish he would get some sort of prize to take home, but it's not really looking like he will. But there were fights for the King of the Mountains points, but nobody who mattered and nobody who will get the King of the Mountains jersey. Then they went and interviewed Metallica dude's dad. Turns out, Metallica dude's dad, who looks like Metallica dude's dad looks like he did not miss Ozzy Osbourne's last concert, even if it cost $20,000 to get a ticket. He was probably there. That's why he didn't come to the Tour de France until like 10 stages were done, because he was too busy going to London to see Ozzy's last show on July 5th. Turns out Metallica dude's dad looks like he rode from Great Britain to France on a Harley Davidson after going to see Ozzy's last show. Straight up. But turns out Metallica dude's dad spends as many hours training and hiking as his son does bicycling. Metallica dude's dad hiked 38 of the 54 peaks over 14,000 feet in the state of Colorado. 38 out of 54, and he did 13 of the peaks that are above 14,000 feet in 104 hours. So that's in just over 4 days, he hiked up 13 mountains that were over 14,000 feet high in Colorado. 13 mountains over 14,000 feet in Colorado. 13 out of 54, at which point up to now he's done 38 of the 54. They have this same thing in New Hampshire. New York has the same thing. The Adirondacks has the same thing. Like all the places where there's groups of mountains, there's a peak challenge of a certain number of peaks above a certain height. The Adirondacks mountain has it. The White Mountains of New Hampshire has it. Now I know that Colorado has it. I guarantee you North Carolina, the Smoky Mountains National Park probably has it. These are all these challenges, and they're like, these are the challenges that people go, I'm gonna hike them all, collect them all. They're like Pokemon. They should just put a Pokemon at the top of each mountain and let you go get it. Like Pokemon Go, that game with the phone game. You take your phone up there and you catch a Pokemon at the top of each mountain, and maybe it's one of the good ones. I don't know. Just there you go, Nintendo. Steal my idea. Don't give me any credit or royalties, but just throwing it out there. But the group that was in the front on stage 11, a bunch of no-names, all competing for their 15 minutes of Tour de France fame by being in the front of the race. Metallica dude, 25 seconds behind them. Still no action from the peloton. They're just out for a cruise. And they had 13 miles left in the race at that point. So Metallica dude got 18 seconds away from the leaders. And at that point, the pace had picked up, and the lead group had only 4 riders in it. And Metallica dude got to 14 seconds away from the front. So it was kind of looking like Metallica might get some action. 8.4 miles left in the race. 4 miles to the last hill climb. And then the lead group dropped down to 2 riders on the same team. And Metallica dude was hanging at about 17 seconds behind them. The peloton the main group of riders were still 3.5 minutes behind. So they're just like, it was looking like they don't even give a shit today. Well, on the last climb, Metallica dude blew up. He fell apart. He died on that hill. And now in the chase group coming up to the front riders was a guy named Matthew Vanderpool, who's a beast. And on the final climb, when the peloton got there, Ben Healy in the yellow jersey, Tadej Pogačar, and the whole gang, they all attacked each other on that last hill. So that was, they were finally trying to do something. 3 miles from the finish line, Matthew Vanderpool was 16 seconds behind the leader, and the peloton was behind them. Then Tadej Pogačar, 2.5 miles. This was a spoiler. I already saw a headline, but I didn't know when and where. But Tadej Pogačar, the favorite to win the Tour, 2.5 miles from the finish line, he had a bad crash. Boom. His front wheel got taken out by someone in front of him, and he wasn't paying that much attention, and he took a dump, slid across the pavement, and almost smashed his head on the curb of the road. But he kind of lifted his head up at the last minute and just missed hitting the curb with his head. And he jumped. He was like me when I got hit by the old lady. He just jumped up to his feet and he grabbed his bike and he was like, motherfucker! And he like slammed his bike down on the road. And then one of the neutral support people came running across the road and helped him back to his bike and got his chain put back on and all that kind of shit. And he just got on his bike and just tore ass back to the group. But the yellow jersey group with Ben Healy, with Jonas Vingegaard, however you say it, they all waited. They slowed down and waited for Tadej Pogačar to catch back up to them. Nobody wanted to be the dick that left him laying on the road and decided, let's fucking go! Like, no Squid Games for Tadej. If that was any other rider, they'd have been like, peace out, bitch, we're out of here. But for whatever reason, sometimes this happens in these professional bike races. If somebody important or somebody who stands a chance to win falls or crashes, all the people that are at that level will stop and wait for that person to get back up and ride again. I've seen this happen many times throughout the years as like a gentleman's agreement, I guess, to where, like, you know how like when they fight in wars and they have different rules where, you know, the British general and the American general would get together under a little tent and discuss, well, here are all the rules that we're going to follow today, even though we're going to kill you, we're going to kill a bunch of you people, you're going to kill a bunch of us, but here are the gentleman's etiquette and the rules that we will be following today. It's kind of like that in the Tour de France sometimes. And so basically if Jonas Vingegaard ends up losing the Tour de France by 15-20 seconds, he's going to look back and say, fuck, I should have left him lying on the road like a dead raccoon. Peace out, keep going. Anyway, like, it's hard to watch the Tour de France several days after the race and not get a spoiler thrown at me when I'm on the internet all the time. Now, Vanderpool, in the meantime, caught up to the leaders. And the two people that were in the lead, they blew up. Now Matthew Vanderpool was in the lead of the race that day, and he's going to win the stage. He had 1 mile down, 1 mile to the finish line. He was 9 seconds ahead of the group. The peloton was all back together as one massive, big, giant group. And this dude, Matthew Vanderpool, was out front. He was one of the people that took off from the 0 kilometer line and went for it. So the whole day, he was basically up in the front. He was by himself the whole day, ahead of the peloton from mile 0 all the way to a mile from the finish line, and he was holding them off. They weren't catching him. He was down to the 1 kilometer banner, and he was ahead by 8 seconds. And then 7 seconds, and then 6, 5, 4, whatever. He got caught like 500 feet from the finish line. The peloton just came and fucking it's like a tsunami when the peloton catches a rider like that. It's like he just gets absorbed into the group at that point, and all the sprinters are out in front. He got caught. He rode by himself the entire day, busting his ass to try to be in the front of the race. And 500 feet from the finish line, the group of riders that were just sitting back having a lazy ride all day caught him right at the finish line. So, and they fucked him. And he didn't even come in he probably came in 50th place. That's how it is. And that's why, I always say, when you see a breakaway like that, most of the time they're going to get caught. They're not going to make it to the finish line. And when they do get caught, it's funny because they get caught right there at the finish line, because these people, they're so scientific about this shit. They all have computers on their bike. They all got earpieces and microphones, and they know exactly how fast they have to go and how hard they got to pump their heart and all that, down to the smallest details. And they know, we'll catch them at the finish line. We don't have to work any harder than that. They know exactly how hard they have to work, and don't work any harder than that to catch this guy. Metallica dude ended up 53 seconds behind the winners. This guy named Jonas Abrahamson something or other, he won the stage by the width of a rim. He was one of the people that broke away in the beginning, but he was caught at the end, or I don't even think I'm. Vanderpool got caught near the finish line. This dude Abramson won. The yellow group finished all together. Tade, they waited for him. So basically all the big players in the race were all together. They did an interview with Metallica dude. He said that, he was hired to be a water bottle bitch, called a domestique. And but everybody on the team, he's been working so hard and riding so hard that everybody on his team saw that, and so he got elevated to be a pace setter for the team, which is a better position to be in than the bottom of the barrel water bottle bitch. So they're giving him chances to win stages now, but he hasn't been able to put one together and actually win. But he might get they do give a prize out at the end of the Tour de France for the most aggressive rider of the Tour de France, and he might get that. The way he rides, and he's always in the front of the race, and he's always helping his teammates, and so he might come home with something. He might come home with a trophy. Not everybody, it's not like woke kindergarten where everybody gets a trophy, but he might get something. He might get something to bring home. It's like going on The Price is Right, and you played Plinko, and all of your chips went into the zero thing, but they gave you a toaster oven to take home, right? It's kind of like that. This dude, Metallica dude won a stage of the Tour of Switzerland. So he's not every rider in the Tour de France, every single guy on a bicycle in that tour has a house full of trophies and medals. You can't even get into the Tour of France if you're not a world class, one of the best 180 people in the entire world that can ride a bicycle. But after the race, it was just nothing but this big long debate. It was like this massive debate about whether they should have left Tadej Pogačar on the side of the road like a dead raccoon and just kept on going instead of waiting for him, because that's like the only way that you're going to get time against him. And there was a lot of people, they were like getting mad at each other. They're like, look, dude, when you get a chance, you have to take it. You can't do this like sportsmanship crap. If I was the team director, I'd be pissed that my riders waited for him to come back. But what the fuck are you doing? You have to hurt him. You think he's gonna wait for you if you go off the side of the road? No. And then there was just a lot of other people saying that like it was a good sign of sportsmanship and good conduct, and it sets a good example, and people would appreciate that and think, wow, that was like the manly thing to do. Let's win this race let's not win the race because someone had a crash. And it wasn't his fault that he crashed. Well, it was kind of his own fault. That it was like a freak accident kind of a crash. A guy darted in front of him and his front wheel got clipped. But the guy, it wasn't his fault, and it wasn't really, it was just a freak accident. But there were a lot of mixed opinions about whether they should have chivalry and all that, because the crash wasn't his fault. But if Jonas Vingegaard were to lose the Tour de France by 20 seconds at the end of it all, he's probably going to realize, I should have left that motherfucker on the side of the road like a dead animal and just kept going because he would have won. But right now the dude's like 2 minutes behind. He's behind. I wouldn't say he's out of the race, but the chances of him getting that yellow jersey are pretty fucking slim. But Ben Healy got to keep the yellow jersey, so on stage 12, he gets to wear it again. Go Ireland. Fuck the British. And, but Ben Healy, because this guy, Martinez, who got the polka dot jersey on stage 10, he really didn't do much on that day, and Ben Healy got a few more points somehow for the polka dot. But Ben Healy got to keep the yellow jersey, and he was in second place for the King of the Mountains jersey. And he had a minute and 24 seconds lead on the white jersey, which is the best young rider in the Tour. So he had a good chance, has a good chance of possibly keeping the white jersey for a while. And so that was stage 11. It takes a while to talk about all this stuff because these bike races are 5 hours long. So if I can watch a bike race for 5 hours and then give you the summary in about an hour and 20 minutes, that's not so bad. But anyway, NBC should hire me to sit with those guys and just be the guy in the background that makes a couple of smart-ass comments here and there. And I can manage the the side of the road costume contest. I've got some good picks for that so far. Talk about that later. But that's what I'm watching. I'm looking for the best costume on the side of the road. And I can do some of these things that that the regular people that do the commentary aren't gonna talk about. So call me. With that, I'm gonna say peace out. We'll talk again.